Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with Tate Mathews. Tate, it's February, and that means state, duals, and individuals coming up, and it means basketball postseason. How exciting. How much more exciting could it get?
Snow this week. I mean, it's exciting times, man. Royal Rumble was the past weekend. Super Bowl coming up. I'm ready. Oh, and we can have more people at the games now, too, so even more exciting.
That's right. So Governor Lee, as everyone probably knows, he lifted Executive Order 74, which was an extension of Executive Order 70.
Yes.
So due to expire February 27th, he came in and said, hey, as of Monday, February 1st, we're back to where it was at before, which basically means this. Cheer and dance can be back at games. It also means that in terms of who can attend, it can be more than just immediate family and grandparents. Now, something that hasn't changed, and I think it was maybe misleading to the public if they didn't keep up with this. It sounded like we're just back to full gyms again. But the TSSAA regulation, which is we need to be at a third or a fourth capacity, depending on the facility, that's still in place. So it's basically like it was before cheer and dance were banned. That's the main thing. I know we're all very happy about it, to get those athletes back out in the gyms. It's great news.
Great news, and I'm so happy for the cheer and dance teams and their parents, especially those seniors. It's like we talked about last week. They put a lot of work in, and I'm glad they're back. Has the TSSAA given any guidance on if they plan on changing that, or is that still up in the air, or are they going to stay third to fourth capacity throughout basketball season?
That hasn't really been talked about formally. My gut feeling is we'll probably stay at some kind of limited capacity, which just makes sense. Right. Now, one thing they haven't said is who that can be and whether or not you have student sections and those kind of things. So for us, we've said, hey, students are going to naturally be there. But at this time, at least for the time being, no formal gathering of a student section like you saw in football. And being indoors, being the state of where we're at right now, just better to go, hey, look, our guidelines, the 4 tickets per participant, will pretty much get us to a third capacity. But how they gather, we're still trying to keep that under wraps. Again, the main thing is this. We have the games.
We have the games, and everybody that is a participant can be back. Hey, you could be in Davidson County where they're allowing 1 ticket per player.
Well, you know what's interesting?
Not 2, 1.
Well, let me tell you what's interesting about that when we have the postseason. So we get in a basketball game, a region game. If it's a game that is at their place, they're going to do the 1 ticket, right? It's going to be less, but if we host here, we'll be able to go up to a third. So I'll be interested to see what that discussion is when we have the basketball region meeting. That those schools may end up saying, who knows, let's play it at your place.
I would hope so.
But although, as a coach, you got a chance to play at home with 1 ticket versus we'll go play at your place and you get 4, but might stay at home.
How does it work with the opposing team? Do they get 4 per participant too?
Well, you talking about for us?
Let's say Hillsboro's coming to Franklin. How many tickets do they get?
So this gets a little bit complicated,
okay.
but it's worth talking about.
Yeah.
So if you do 4 per participant, if you have 25, 30 participants, now that includes JV players, varsity players, boys and girls teams both, cheerleaders, dance team members. So if you're a school that says after the JV game we're going to clear the gym, then you can have a little bit more for varsity. If you want to say, look, we're not going to do that, we're just going to do for the night and you can stay the whole night, then it may be less per person.
Right.
If you're talking visiting team, how much room do you have? Are you one of those gyms that has more space on the home side versus less space on the visiting side? So it gets a little bit complicated, but a good litmus test, so to speak, would be, is it a third? Is it about a third? Is it a little less or right at a third? If you do that, then it's doable. But when the tournament starts, it's going to be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, we just need to take care of it and have all home games. And I mean, we can't, but after that first or second round,
Yes.
have all home games. That'd be good.
Hey, Tate, and I want to You got to give credit where credit's due and criticism where it's due.
Well, if you're going to step up and play with the big boys, you got to be prepared.
So this segment is for one of our biggest fans. We love him. Does a great job as the AD and coach out there at Grassland. Also, he's a great announcer for WCTV.
Great announcer.
However, we have determined that Paul, pardon the interruption, Brees, needs to back off a little bit. And why is that, Tate?
Well, he is a loyal viewer of the show, usually watches it as early Wednesday morning as he can, and he sent a text to you and I saying, hey, just watch the show. Sorry, Coach joins. It is 3 games that makes up a series in bowling. Well, you did some research and called a true bowling expert, and Coach Brees, not so fast, my friend. He jumped the gun a little bit.
Now, in Coach Brees' defense, if you look up a traditional series in bowling, a perfect series is 900.
Correct.
He was referring to, I had mentioned that Drew Whalen of Franklin finished 5th, and he bowled an 8-10 series in the qualifying rounds. You had said, is that 3 or is it 4?
Correct.
And I said, it's 4. And then PTI Brees, the Tony Kornheiser wannabe, said, hey, Coach, I think that's 3. But nothing against Mr. Whalen. He's a great bowler. That's a 202.5 series.
Correct.
If he were bowling a 270 series, he needs to skip his junior year and go straight to the tour.
No doubt about it. He'd be on ESPN. But it's like, it's kind of like when you're a coach, right? And you have the meeting. You say, look, we need 3 things to have a basketball team, okay? Have a basketball game. Actually, we need 4 things. We need a coach, we need players, and we need officials, and we need fans. Okay, well, you're the coach. Are you going to be official? No, okay. Well, we got the players, so be a fan. Be a fan, Coach Brees.
Coach Brees, we got this. But we do appreciate you watching.
Yes, and we love you.
We love Coach Brees, but wanted to make sure that we got on him there. And if we were right, I was very prepared to come in and say, did a little research, and I'm wrong, but research had been done. It's taken care of.
Well, no, and you are. We've always said this. You're a big common sense guy. Let's use common sense. And you're sitting here going, wait a second. Like you just said, that would mean he had a 270 average. He'd be in the pros right now, which he probably will be one day.
Yeah, he may be. So anyway, congratulations to Drew Whalen. Again, from Franklin, it was a great run for him as he finished 5th in the bowling 2 weeks ago.
Sophomore.
It's impressive. It really is. Let's talk a little wrestling, Tate. Congratulations to Fairview and Summit. They both advanced to the state duels, which will be held this week at Nolensville, Independence, Centennial, and Mill Creek. In the region championship, Fairview defeats Millington Central 72-6. There was no sectionals, by the way. Whoever they were lined up with said, no thanks, Fairview, you win. Didn't even wrestle them. Now, I know there's the individuals they have to worry about, but to me, you don't even wrestle in the sectionals. So Fairview now is in the Final 4. They will take on, we'll talk about there here in a minute, Hickson in the first round. If they win, they would probably match up against Pigeon Forge. I think we're all anticipating that in the final. Summit defeats Centennial. Independence defeats Brentwood in what turned out to be the district and region finals or tournament because there's no metro in terms of wrestling. Summit ends up defeating Arlington 49-15. Congratulations to Coach Miller. Independence falls to Collierville 41-33. Great year for Coach Youngsma there at Independence, and obviously they're still alive in the individuals.
Yep. And, again, fewer teams going to the duels this year, so even that much more of an accomplishment for Summit going. I think kind of wire to wire, us college football fans, Summit's been the wire to wire #1, I think, in this district since the beginning, and seeing them go to the state tournament. Very happy about that. Tough competition, but they're really tough too. So, and Fairview one step closer to fulfilling your prophecy at the beginning of the year.
Yes, and we do anticipate they'll wrestle Pigeon Forge, right?
I think without a doubt.
And that would be, so they wrestle 1 o'clock Saturday, that's at Nolensville, and then if they win, 3:30 for the championship. Summit takes on Oakland. What do you think about that matchup?
Tough matchup.
Tough matchup.
Yeah,
of course,
they're
in the
good.
winner gets Cleveland, Dobbins-Bennett, Cleveland in the semis, right? But you think it's still a tough matchup for Coach Miller and
Oh, yeah.
Summit.
Yeah, but it's a winnable match, but Oakland's good too. And Coach Harris, former high school wrestler, former state champ, he's done a really good job building that program up. They got a little bit more of they've got a few football guys that come in. He coaches football as well. So, yeah, it's just going to be a really good matchup against two physical, tough teams. So I think Summit's got the edge, but they're going to have to show up and fight.
So in AAA, it's down to 8. AA is already down to 4 because typically it's 16-8.
Right.
So now it's 8-4. And I'll be interested to see if they keep this going forward, maybe a smaller state duels. Also, I did want to mention Erica Moore of Brentwood, the first female state qualifier in wrestling for Brentwood. I know Coach Smith's fired up about that. Coach Blair, the AD out there, who's also a former wrestling coach. I know they're very excited about that.
Very excited, and it's there. Coach Grindstaff was kind of on the front end of the women's wrestling in Williamson County, and so Brentwood hadn't had their women's program quite going as long as they have. So, but it's rolling now, and this is right. This is the example that you can show now, right? And I think that the rise of Brentwood wrestling on the women's side will keep growing pretty rapidly.
I agree. Let's talk a little basketball. So in girls basketball this week, it actually got more crowded at the top.
It did.
Because of some games. And listen to this, Tate. So Centennial and Indy, 1-10, 1-9. They're probably going to play in that 8-9 game. Franklin's 2-9. Dixon 3-8. Spring Hill 7-2. Ravenwood 8-3. Summit 8-2. Page Brentwood 9-2. Also, I looked at this before the show. If you go and look winners and losers of those matchups, it's still pretty confusing. So there's a lot left to be said, and a big part of that is the way Brentwood and Ravenwood both took care of an undefeated Spring Hill this week.
Correct. Yeah, thanks. You were just singing their praises, man. Thanks for playing.
I'm actually glad I jinxed them. You know what I'm saying?
Did.
Good. See, I don't really want to jinx people unless they're out of WCS. If we jinx Dixon, if we jinx Spring Hill, if we jinx anybody in Metro, so be it. We're all WCS all the time.
One conference, one goal, man.
One conference, one goal. No doubt about that.
Yeah, Spring Hill, though, I think that was you can't take away what they've done, but I think as the season's starting to the regular season's starting to come to an end, maybe it's getting a little tight. They haven't been there before.
Do you think they're going to finish 5th? You think they're going to end up 5th?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. Because I think Ravenwood's playing really well, and they got 2 girls that can put 30 on you. Yeah, I do. I think they do.
Let's talk about
Do you?
those. Yes, I do. Let's talk about those games. Brentwood 58-42 over Spring Hill. Big bounce back for Brentwood after losing to Summit. Amelia Osgood, Sydney Ryan, both with 15. Then late in the week, I was so fired up about the Brentwood Summit game. That one got canceled because of COVID protocols and quarantines and all those things that go on. So those games will be backed up, Summit out for a bit. Ravenwood 54, Spring Hill 42, Reagan Grimes 27, Lexi Erickson 14, and for Coach James, Mary Prestigard, Ava Levine, Rachel Hillman, all playing well. They are peaking at the right time.
Without a doubt. And, sitting there at 8-3, Summit 8-2, and as you mentioned, still has Brentwood. So Ravenwood's got a chance to finish in that 3 spot. But you're right, they're playing really well. And, Grimes and Erickson are going to put up big points. You mentioned that supporting cast. I think they can knock some of the people in front of them off. It's going to be fun to watch them in the tournament.
Let's talk about another team that had a big week. Coach Brock back on the sidelines for Page. We were all fired up that happened. They had a tough loss to Summit, but then they turned right back around, get a 66-42 win over Franklin, 76-36 over Dixon. Here's the thing, I know we've mentioned it before, but what's really scary about them, they're not going to have a senior night. Not for the girls. They don't have a senior on the team. So it's pretty scary when you start thinking about how well they're playing. Again, they're sitting up there at 9-2, near the top of the league or at the top of the standings right now.
Right.
Lily Wilkin in that Franklin game, 25. Sadie Porter, 14. Brayley Bushman, 13. You've got some young ladies who are stepping up to help the two-headed monster of Wilkin and Cochran. I'm telling you, they're pretty scary too.
Oh, without a doubt. But they've been in it the past few years anyway. So, I would think now that Coach Brock's back, that's the, let's finish this thing outright in the tournament. But, anytime you got Lily Wilkin, and it's the same deal. All these two-headed monsters, right? Any night that your two-headed monsters are both on, Osgood and Ryan, you're probably in trouble.
And think about this. I mean, we don't want to end this season yet for Page. Good luck to those teams in 3A next year playing them.
Yes, exactly.
When we go to 4 classes in basketball, tell them what Lincoln County's won, Johnny. 2 matchups with Page. That's gonna be tough. So anyway, Kate O'Neill for Franklin, 18 in that game against Page. 8 different Lady Admirals scored. I also wanted to mention too, I thought this was great. Independence gets their first district win of the season, 30-14 over Centennial. Congratulations to Coach White, who has so admirably stepped up on an interim basis this year. She's working hard. The girls are working hard. She's keeping a positive attitude, trying to keep them pepped up. That was great for them. Ryan Brown led Independence in scoring that night with 8 points, so good for them.
Good for them, and I know that was a game they really wanted to make sure. They had to make that one up, correct? I think they did.
Centennial Indy that particular night, no.
Oh,
that was an on-time one.
Gotcha, okay. So I know they wanted to make sure they got
Actually,
that
you're right. It was a makeup because they played back-to-back nights.
Right.
That's right.
And Coach White doing all that while continuing her athletic director duties, and she is the glue of the wellness department, no doubt.
No doubt. That's a different program for a different day. Let's talk boys standings here. Spring Hill and Dixon, we can comfortably say, will be at the bottom of the league. Centennial playing well, had a good week, 4-6. Independence 5-6, Summit 5-5, Page 6-5. Brentwood, Ravenwood 9-3 and 8-3, Franklin 10-1. So here's how it's shaping up. Franklin's going to probably win the league, right? Unless something strange happens. The winner of the Battle of the Woods this coming Friday will probably end up second. And then the other will finish third. And then it gets a little bit cloudy with Page, Summit, Indy, and Centennial. Start off, let's talk a little bit. Well, actually, let me get your thoughts on that, Tate. In terms of that piling up now in the middle.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And I'm telling you, Centennial back-to-back district wins. He's figuring it out. He's going to keep those scores low. They're going to play defense and rebound. I'm telling you, don't sleep on the Cougars.
Oh, definitely don't sleep on them. Brentwood starting to trend in the right direction. Not that they haven't been playing well, but they had a lot of games to make up. Spring Hill, they had the makeup game. They beat them, ended up playing them twice last week, 50-39, then 74-39. If they were going to play Summit, if they would have played that game, they would have been all caught up. Now the Summit game got pushed back a little bit, but Brentwood certainly playing well. Coach Shirley's been back for a few weeks. You've got the leadership of Burke and Windley. Brock's got that experience. I'm telling you, Brentwood's playing well too.
Oh, they are. And then you got the super freshman in Cochran. I notice he keeps getting in 12, 13, 15 points a game, but you're right. Windley, he's been through it, right? He's been there. And then you mentioned the juniors they've got in Brock and them. They've got the firepower. Franklin hasn't lost since 2020. They have not lost in 2021. I think, what are they up to, 14, 15 games?
I think their last loss was Ravenwood.
Ravenwood, that's right.
The first contest back in December.
And we talk about matchups all the time. There's something about that Ravenwood-Franklin matchup. Had to, beat them by 2 last time. As you mentioned in your gym last week, 3rd time out of 4 games out of bounds on the side,
that's right?
Came down to the end. So, but they're playing really, really well, man. And you've been there. How hard is that really? You get on that 15-game, 16-game win streak. That's It's not easy to do. I don't care how good you are.
Well, first of all, let's don't feel sorry for anybody that wins 14 or 15 in a row, right?
Yeah,
But
good for
I
them.
do think what happens, and I talked to Coach Thrash about this last week, when you win so many in a row, if you happen to lose one, it seems like a bigger deal than it should be. It's like the sky is falling. We've won 14 or 15 in a row, and we slip up and lose one. It just feels worse than it really should feel. So Franklin's really playing well. In fact, let's talk about this week's gym, Tate. They took on Northeast last Thursday night at Northeast. Franklin comes out on top 68-66 in what I'm calling the Joe Daves Classic, because Coach Daves was the head coach at Franklin. The only WCS basketball state championship is still Franklin, 1989. And he also coached at Clarksville Northeast. That thing had a sub-state kind of feel. If you checked it out on NFHS, I watched some of it there. Great win for Franklin. And you get the sense maybe that's two teams that could play later.
Well, I hope they do, and I hope it's off of Hillsborough Road when they do play. But I think that's good, right? That's a good test for them. You know, a little change up from 11 AAA, but that's a nice win. You're right. And they had to have been athletic. So, and that's pretty cool, man. I did not know he coached at Northeast.
He did.
I would love to know why he went there.
That I can't answer.
Maybe Paul Kornheiser can find out.
Coach Brace, if you don't mind, get on that. Text us. I know you will. Let us know what the deal is, although we'll probably have to fact check him.
Correct, no doubt.
Hey, let's talk about Centennial. You mentioned them earlier, that playing well. They beat Summit 68-66 in overtime. Okay, 68-66, overtime, some free throws late. Summit missed, Centennial made some. You look up, Centennial wins by 2. They follow that up with a 58-56 win at Independence, so they are definitely trending in the right direction. That Independence game, what I liked about them, they're down 42. They had a lead, 42-31 on the road. Independence cuts it down, but then Centennial comes out at the end. That's growth of a team when those kind of things start happening. What happens? Patrick Garrett hits a big 3 late to secure the win, and Lincoln Aholt, who's playing well for Centennial.
Yes.
He scores 15 in that game too. Great night, great couple of days there for Coach Moore and Centennial.
No doubt about it, and needed him. And, you know, Garrett, you know, battled some things early on. Seems like he's back healthy, and you know, they need him to be the leader of the team. I think that's also big. The win was big. The fact that he comes down and hits a 3 late to do it, I think that was really the way, you know, I think Coach Moore was very happy with the way that game ended.
Independence led by Jet Montgomery with 19, River Katina 14, Cameron Bell 12. And going back and talking a little bit about Coach Moore and Centennial, it's always going to be tough with a new coach.
Correct.
That's a natural thing. Good or bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. When there's change, it takes a while. They have no summer. They have not much of a fall in terms of working out. So the way Centennial's playing right now is the way they would have been playing probably early December if it was a typical year. So they're scary finishing up the season. Let's finish up the boys' AAA by talking about Ravenwood. Couple of big wins. They didn't need to get well, but if in case they did, they had the week to do it. They beat Dixon 57-37, Ravenwood 69-20. You're laughing because it's like the bash. Spring. And listen, we're just having fun here.
Jay Pallison watching this.
69-26 over Spring Hill. And then Ravenwood will play Brentwood again this Friday. Battle of the Woods to determine.
Is it at Brentwood?
This one's at Brentwood.
Man, I need to be one of those third capacity.
You better get your media badge
That's a big
on, big
game.
boy, to get in there. Tell me you got a delivery to make. Hey, guys, I got to drop something off here in the gym.
Got some basketballs. Slip knots.
I think that,
You like that?
that's yes. No,
Slip knot replacement sheets.
nobody really uses. I love those things.
Kids today, man.
If nothing else, I thought it was kind of cool just to step on it and makes that noise.
Heck yeah, without a doubt.
It's like a bug getting caught in one of those zappers.
That's right.
All right, let's talk Double A here. I'm so fired up to talk about Fairview every week. 10-1 in league play for the girls. They beat Lewis County, and then 48-42 over Stewart County. That was their only loss that they had. They lost to them, I think it was 60-47, January 5th. They are tied with Creekwood, first in the league. And another thing that happened for Coach McGowan and the Lady Yellow Jackets, 15-6 run in the fourth quarter. Again, that's what good teams do.
That's right, and they got people that can score points, right? I mean, they've got shooters, people that can score. Avenging that loss, getting better. This is no fluke.
Oh, no. It's not a fluke at all. 10 wins in the league. A few years ago, you'd have had to add a couple of years together to get 10 total.
Right.
10-1 in the league. Obviously, Kelsey Gossage, you always talk about her. 13 points, 10 rebounds in that game against Stewart County. Riley Dillingham, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Casey Mullins, 8 points, 2 rebounds and an assist. Chloe Lee, 10 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 block. If you couldn't keep up with that, the point is there's a lot of people doing a lot of things for Fairview.
And it's balanced.
Very balanced. How about the boys, Tate, playing well too?
10-1 in 11 AA play. Pretty good.
Big week for them, 70-58 over Lewis County, 53-50 over Stewart County. Again, lots of stat stuffers for their team too.
No doubt about it. And Kennedy Pendergrass got to be up for what do we call it? Player of the Year, MVP in the district?
MVP is what most people will call it. I think it's just the Final Four that does that.
Got to be.
They call it that in the Final Four, don't they? At the college level.
Probably. I don't know.
I think yeah.
What are we going with?
MVP.
MVP.
Because everybody understands MVP.
You know, that's right. Well, we would hope. 8 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal. What does that tell you? He's always around the ball, right? Or am I just...
That's right. No, that's right.
Jacob Neal, 12 points, 12 rebounds.
12 boards.
That's strong.
That's stepping up.
Jonathan Sawyer, 9.6 rebounds, and another... We forgot to mention Jet Montgomery, 19, Independence.
I mentioned it.
On the all-freshman team.
I slipped it in there on you.
No, but he's a freshman.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He's definitely on the all-freshman team. And Mays McCoy, 13.6 rebounds, another freshman. We got 3 freshmen putting up big-time minutes, big-time production, and Mays is one of them. But, yeah, Fairview 10-1. I think they win I think this is the year. I think they win it. They get back on top.
It's great. At Creekwood, again, big game on Friday of this week.
That's becoming a cool rivalry.
Oh, very much so. Let's talk Nolensville. The girls, 5-1 now in district play. They had wins over Marshall County and Giles County. Versus Giles, Cayman Ladd. Again, we talk about the two-headed monsters, right? 22 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. Maybe your favorite player in the league, or in WCS, Zoe Pillar. You love her?
Love her.
14 points, 10 boards, 2 blocks. Don't mess with Zoe.
Don't come in the paint. You're not ready for this. But, you know, we've watched her play, and that's what's so fun to watch about her. You know, such a force inside, but very athletic. You know, can get out and run with the ball a little bit, and nice touch. But yeah, she's another one. She's in that MVP talk for that region. But Coach Ladd's got them playing. They're getting back a little. You know, well, maybe they lost too much firepower. Oh, I don't know how this is going to end up. He's got them playing well. They'll be ready.
No doubt. Nolensville boys 4-2 in the league. They had a tough loss, 49-47 against Marshall County. They bounced back with a 52-41 win over Giles. Davin Watkins, 22. Giles County, and I don't have written down where that one was played at. What a great place to play. Giles County.
It's cool.
I'd never been there until my first year at Franklin. We played there. I've got my camera out. I'm taking pictures. I've got video. It reminded me of like old school Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. It's a cool place. And as the Wolfman, Coach Wild he'll back me up on this. Hopefully you had time to stop by the Hickory House right across from the Brickyard. And, man, you want to talk some award-winning banana pudding, man. It's off the chart. But nobody enjoyed a Giles County win more than your predecessor, Coach Jeremy Qualls. Not Dr. Qualls, because something happened back when he was coach. Nobody enjoys a boys basketball win over Giles County more than him.
Do you think it's because the legend Billy Hope put him in his place about 15 straight times?
Something happened.
Probably ignored him in the district meeting. You know, he's trying to make a comment. He's like, Coach Holt said, hold on a second. Mr. Qualls, I got it.
Coach, I got it. Coach Babington, they're playing better too.
They are. And I just got to thinking about this, because I'm sure, again, Paul Brees will be involved in this. I believe in the Final Four, it's the most outstanding player. They call it that.
I think you are right. Hey, are you getting ready to close off?
I'm getting ready to close it down.
Who you got in the Super Bowl?
I'm going to go Tampa Bay. And the reason being, I'm a big believer in Brady. I mean, when you look, there's some news for you. But here's what I liked about it. I thought, I was excited when we were talking about maybe the Titans getting Brady. And I know Tannehill and the chemistry's good and all that kind of stuff. But the thing about Brady to me that's been impressive, I know they've added some pieces. And I wasn't prepared for this, but it'll go with my knowledge of the game here, Tate. They were 7-9 last year, Tampa Bay.
Strong.
When I noticed when they won, and they had him up there and they were interviewing him, of course they were just all, oh, you're great, Tom Brady. And he was like, talk to some of my teammates here. But when those teammates got up there and when the coach got up there, they talked about him and what he meant to that team. There's something about his leadership that is off the charts special.
No doubt.
Because of that, I'm going Tampa Bay at home. First time ever a team has hosted the Super Bowl.
That's strong.
So I wasn't ready for that question, but I like.
No, I think that's good.
What do you got?
I loved everything you said. I think Kansas City's a better team.
I do too.
I think it's kind of like Sarkisian in the national championship game for Alabama. I think Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy just find ways. I think they're on another level of finding ways to get the ball to their playmakers. Mahomes he's not Brady, but he's dang good. I'm going with the Chiefs.
So Mahomes, one thing I do like, Mahomes, Adidas,
No
Tommy,
doubt.
terrific Under Armour.
That's right.
Which is impressive. He plays that well in
That's right.
that apparel. Nothing against Under Armour.
Hey, 2 years ago, the league had to make him update his helmet. He was wearing a helmet that wasn't even made anymore.
Did he have that Theismann with that one bar?
No, but he had an ROPO mask on, but he was wearing a VSR 4.
It's like one of those plastic helmets I wore as a kid when I was in my backyard.
Matt Davenport wore one at Brentwood. That's how old it is.
That's great. Tate, always good to see you.
You too,
Love being back in studio. Appreciate the crew here at WCTV, Creed and Lance and Heather and Michael for taking care of us. And we appreciate you joining us every week for Sports Connection, and we'll see you next time.